This time's for real. Are you guys ready? Okay then, begin!
It's time to do it. Let's begin.
May the best man win. I intend to.
Venomous! Roll battle!
それでは第9回戦
この発旋風!
What's up with y'all? Happy Juneteenth to everybody, you know. Whether you ditch work or went to work, you know what I mean? But you know, Amazing Spider can't hear, aka the villain of the Blerd Cartel. Follow the Blerd Cartel, you know, all socials. You know what I mean? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube especially. Get the YouTube numbers up, definitely. But we do have a guest here. He is the founder of Atlantic Comic Con. It's going to be in Norfolk, Virginia, August 17th to 18th. So give a warm welcome, Darren Blerd here. How you feeling, good sir?
Y'all ain't clapping or nothing. I don't get no ovation.
I was
What's
waiting for you
going
to
on, man?
talk first.
Right, I'm feeling amazing. Fortunate, strong, healthy, all the good stuff.
Well, welcome.
Appreciate you definitely reaching out, coming on, you know, in order to see these Negroes. But we won't get into it. We'll talk about black characters and comics and cartoons and anime, and then you know we'll get to the spicy stuff later, and just like which anime character can you see as a black character that's not normally black now? You know, I know y'all gonna act up, so I mean, I'm waiting.
Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Let's celebrate.
Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Here we go. That's why yours in at 6 o'clock. You know what? You posted.
Well, let's just celebrate the peace we have now before it devolves into the debauchery. You know, let's just be happy first.
What? I didn't even say nothing crazy.
Nothing yet.
He ain't even say nothing crazy.
Nothing yet. This is a time limit.
Listen, wrong or right? We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Yeah.
So
anyways,
get the violation button ready.
I'm gonna have it between the comic book companies, between Marvel and DC, the two biggest ones, obviously. Who do you think portrays their characters in the best light? Their black characters.
It's Marvel over DC always, because DC feels like generic to me in certain respects.
But I respect DC more when it comes to some of their black characters, actually.
I was going to say DC has more black characters in my opinion.
Well, no, it's not that. It could be like John Stewart.
We'll try one at a time. Let's try one at a time. Go ahead, Mari.
Like, to me, I respect the different characters like John Stewart. I respect, Virgil Hawkins, Static, of course. Like, some of their black characters I respect a lot more than the few the few Marvel tries to throw out there.
Now we turn on Don Cheadle?
Yeah,
always.
Well, and not even that. What about like Forge, and what about like Bishop, yo? Like, they're strong. Come on, yo.
Forge isn't black. What are we talking about?
Forge is racially ambiguous, I feel like.
An Indian man is racially ambiguous.
Now we turn on Black Panther.
Is he confirmed Indian though?
T'Challa?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I mean,
No, he's gonna turn on T'Challa. We'll turn on Blue Marvel. Turn on Storm. It's fair. This,
Yeah, I can't turn on Storm. But I do think that
Harbinger of Black.
Kind of
Harbinger. Which kind of company you growing up with? Just like who you think represented their black characters better?
You asking me?
Yeah.
So, the only and absolute right answer is Milestone. So DC would be the best representative of blackness because it was literally surrounded around diversity, intentionally black. I mean, from the founders to the editors and the letterers, everybody was black, and the stories were created specifically for that cause. So DC, even though it went under, but like there's so much greatness that came out of that. You know, Dwayne McDuffie, MD Bright, he just passed away. It's just so many. So DC, even though I'm like pro Marvel 120%, but to my knowledge, Marvel has never had an initiative that like Milestone. Like Milestone was everything when it comes to blackness, for sure.
When you say that, is it more or less just like did it catch up too late, like changing Spider-Man from Peter Parker to Miles, changing Captain America from
I
Steve
hate
to
all
Sam?
that. Like I'm not. I don't like that. I was waiting for the question about which characters do you see would you would like to see as black in anime. I hate the whole idea of like a black face character. I'm big on original ideas and concepts, and if a person or a character is black, it should be black. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to be like what makes a person should be black. Like I mean, because then you would have to dive into like racial stereotypes, wouldn't you? I mean, most people would go that route. Like when you think about a black person, what is that? It's a culture, right?
I think what we do have, we're deep involved in that culture of Japanese animation. We want to see some type of representation of being at least a main character. We get too many side characters, we get too many characters that just off to the side and stuff like that. But we value their screen time more than another person or another race will be watching the show. At least for us. I mean, just for at least.
But I don't think we're as hard on anime because of the culture itself compared to when we look at DC and Marvel. And I agree with him. You know, when we talk about black characters, I agree that we should have characters that started off black, that the whole point was for them to be black, and we get to build around their blackness and grow instead of saying, okay, I love this character, but I just wish they were black, so let's change them. And that's always the conversation that comes up when they race swap a character in movies now. People are always like, well, why did you make this character black? Why don't y'all just want original characters that are created that way? And though we have all these fan favorites that we love, and of course we want to see representation and people that look like us, I would appreciate, especially as someone that likes being an individualist and different from other people, I would want a character that started off that way and that was rooted in that way. And I think that's one of the reasons why we enjoy Black Panther so much. He started off black, he was always black, he's always going to be black. So switching him, it's just like if someone came in and said, well, why can't Black Panther be white or whatever? We don't use that same logic when it's the other way around.
The white wolf.
Yeah, well, we don't use that. Well, we just don't use that logic when the tables are turned. And I get that we want to see our characters, even in anime. I love a black character in anime, but I don't necessarily search for it per se either, because of the fact that it's Japanese culture. And yes, there was a black samurai and stuff like that, but that wasn't super prevalent there to where I need it out of anime. But we do see that in the real world when it comes to DC and Marvel. So yes, I would like to see a character that grew up the same way that I did, that has similar ancestors. My nigga.
So so when I think about anime, especially because we Black Americans influence a lot of anime. Like my favorite sports anime of all time, Ippo. Like that's literally every black boxer ever. All of them. All of the good ones are just put into like a Japanese face. And so like it's easy to just say like, well, I wish Ippo, he was literally Mike Tyson. You know, like they took everything that Mike Tyson was stripped him of, you know, his personality, but gave him his style, gave him his special moves, and like every character on Epo, because I'm a big boxing fan, right? I can pinpoint the style that they took from it. So it's just kind of like, what are we really saying when we say what characters do we want black? Because most all of them really are, like the undertones are us. And so for me, it's offensive.
So, yeah, because I don't get it, because when I saw Dragon Ball, I saw black people, you know, big lip, all the other stereotype connotations and stuff. Hell, the Red River Army had a black leader who said, yo, leave that little kid with the monkey tail alone. He's not good for business. I don't know, yeah, we were looking for that one Kwame in the group. Yeah, we were looking for that.
That one Kwame is great.
Yeah, we were looking for the Kwame. We were looking for the Brock. We were looking at Hunter, the black dude who had the shades and the poof ball hair. And I'm like, wow, damn, dude. Like, we do have other hairstyles, you know, in video games and all over. So when I hear people saying, what is blackness? But other people are using our likeness and stereotypes and dance styles and different other stuff, I'm like, there we go right there. You know, oh, there we go right there again. There we go right there with Jinx, which they had to change her because of the offensiveness of blackface. So other people seem to not mind using us. Shout out to Tenju Tenge. They had a whole guy, Bob Marley, dancing around. Bob Bakimara, excuse me, thank you, Afkami. They knew how to use us in a lot of different animes or fighting styles.
That was a nigga with dreads that could break dance, let's be honest.
Bro, but guess what? He had to
keep something there.
I don't hate it. I'm always gonna be a Tenjo Tenge fan.
But you know what? We were happy to see that dude. We were happy to see him in there. He was definitely
character work.
Yep, and he was getting women. So they must have knew something about us, how we were getting down. So I don't know. I do look for us. I do look for things that look like us, or when they use our facial features or things that we do. Saban, Zach, you know, I do dance food. The hell? We don't know anything else other than dancing, but hey, it's okay.
That's hip hop keto. Come on, man.
Hip hop keto? Really? We didn't know capoeira? We don't know capoeira? We can't do anything else?
Right.
Hip hop
keto.
Right.
So
right.
I'm just saying, like, we're not gonna pretend like Japan or Asian culture don't be used to it.
Let's be honest, yo.
I'm just saying, when we did have predominantly black anime characters, we didn't care. We had cannon busters. Oh, his ass. Yeah. I mean, we can look past the black cast and be like, oh man, this one's kind of ass, but I don't even give it a chance. You get one.
When it comes to anime, I don't even know why we expect anime characters to be black or look for that when anime is created by Japanese people. Japanese culture. You like, if you want a true, authentic African American experience that is not, and representation that is not stereotypical, you cannot expect that from someone that is not black, especially when they do not understand our culture, and all they do when it comes to understanding is basically mimicking. So they can only mimic whatever they've seen in media and stuff like that, which is always just an inflated version of who we are. We can sit here and talk about the gang culture. Okay, well, there's a lot of other things that are deeper to gang culture than just running around like holding someone up in the street. You know what I mean? There's a lot more that's deeper to gang culture. There's a lot more to a lot of the things that make us who we are that they do not get to see because it is portrayed in the media one way, and then that is how they take it in, and then they're like, okay, well, all black people have big lips, they have braids or dreadlocks, and they love hip-hop. Well, that's not true. We are not a monolith. We are not all the same. And so if you want a diverse type of representation when it comes to African Americans, that is why we say all the time, that is the one thing that I loved about Black Panther, was that it was written by a black man. And so no matter how you feel about different changes in the movie or whatever. You went in there knowing that you were going to get a true Black experience because a Black man walked it, lived it, experienced it. That was his whole life, and that's what he put on screen for us. So any other time that we see a Black character that's not written by a Black person, I don't know why we're so like shocked or upset, because nobody can understand our struggle, our culture, our way of life if you haven't experienced it firsthand. And you can have supporters from now till Christmas and allies, but I don't give a damn what anybody says. They will never understand what it is to be you can't find out one white man in America that understands what it's like to be a Black man in America, period. It don't matter if he was your best friend from the day y'all came out the womb. He don't understand it. He supports you. He can be an ally, but he'll never be able to write that story.
Right.
How many of y'all got turned up when y'all saw Killer B?
I love Killer B.
I love Killer B, but I accept Killer B for who he is.
I like Killer B a lot.
I have a slight rebuttal for that.
It's a rap for you round. It's a rap for your rounds.
Two things.
But I accept him for who he is too. There's a lot of people that want to go in and then criticize. They're like, oh, we want Black characters, and then they're mad that these Black characters aren't who we want them to be, and then they pick and choose who they like. I love Killer B because I know who he's supposed to be, and he was still freaking entertaining. So I took him for who he was. I didn't sit there and say, oh, well, he's a total stereotype, so I can't like him. No, he is a stereotype, and that's one of the reasons why I like him, because they did it kind of well.
Right.
Well,
Okay, yeah, I think I have a rebuttal for that. Like,
I'm glad that the Juneteenth vibe has survived. I'm here for it.
No. See, this is how I look at it. I might be different, but I don't look in anime or in shows for African American characters, because originally that's not my purpose of looking at the anime. Naruto, I'm not looking at Naruto to see if I'm looking at Naruto because I enjoy the show. I enjoy the story. I happen to see one of my kind there. I'm not searching for what stereotypes they chose to pick from my kind to put on their character. I'm seeing how did that character play their roles. Like for me, I don't necessarily look at color a lot of times when I'm looking at something that I want to entertain. And even taking Black Panther, for example, I didn't go and see Black Panther because it was written by a Black guy and it was full of African American representation. I went to Black Panther because I'm a fan of comic books and I'm a fan of Black characters. The comic. I didn't go there to see what they would put or what representation. That's not my purpose. But now it's good to have that. But even some of my favorite, Black characters in anime, like Afro Samurai, I don't like Afro Samurai because he's Black. I like Afro Samurai because of his anime, his moves, his entire character development, everything of his story. Not because he's Black, not because he smokes, not because he has big lips and a big afro. That's not why I like him. And so for me, it's a bit different there because I don't look for that. Nor even for Killer B, for example, I like Killer B and I look for Killer B not because he raps and has cornrow dreads or braids in his head. No, I like Killer B because of who he was. So for me, it's just a bit different for that. Like the African American. Like you said, I don't look in Japanese media for African Americans. So when I see one, I'm not being like, oh, looking at a new animal in the zoo, like, oh, okay, this is cool, this is wonderful. Let me see what they gonna. Oh, I just look at it. Okay, they put that there. Cool, we're gonna keep going. That's how I look.
But I also believe that you're one person that looks at it that way. But I do believe that majority of African American viewers that watch anime or consume media completely do not view it that way. They are looking to see themselves in these characters, and I'm glad that you chose. Well, no, and I'm not saying look at my character. Yeah, you can't, but we're not going to act like that is not the case. You cannot sit here and you know what? No, let me not go down that road today. We'll save that for casual conversations.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was saying I might be different in how I view. I'm not trying to discredit your point and how probably a lot of people do look at media in that way, and it's probably not even just anime. It's probably all media, whether it be TV shows, cartoons, anime, the list goes on. They probably look at all media in that way because there's a lot of media that African Americans aren't represented by the majority. I was just saying, like for me, when I look for something that I look for entertainment value or something, I'm not looking for me or my hand in there. I'm just saying for me, I'm just looking at what it is being presented.
But I still feel like even your point about Black Panther, you kind of contradicted yourself because you said that you didn't go there to have a Black writer, to see the Black experience, but because you enjoyed the comic book character and you're a fan of comics. But the reason that you are the whole point of Black Panther was the Black movement, the Black experience. Like that is what you get from that character.
Oh no! That's not the only things I get from T'Challa.
That's not the only thing, but that is the main thing.
That's not the main thing for me. That's what I'm saying. Like my main thing for me in enjoying Black Panther is not the blackness of it or anything. It could be, you know, the technological advancements of Wakanda, how they act towards the rest of the world. It's not just the racial stereotype or the racial part of Black Panther that encompasses the entirety of Black Panther. Like just like Storm, the main reason I like Storm isn't just because, you know, she's a Black African queen. I like Storm more or less for her powers and like her role in the X-Men and all the other kind of stuff. So like, I'm not necessarily looking for just that as my only reason for why I like Black Panther.
But if that isn't a part of it, then why aren't other elemental powered characters as popular for you? If that doesn't play a part, or with Black Panther, the technological advances, we have stuff like Tony Stark. The technological advances.
I never said they weren't as popular.
I'm saying for you.
Before y'all go back and forth, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Before y'all go back and forth. Is it? I'm guessing you're just going for his experience of being a comic book fan. If you're gonna go, you're going to experience it from just being you're going for a Black experience. You want to dress up?
No, not necessarily, because I'm a comic book fan as well. I'm saying that what he is missing is, whether he wants to acknowledge it or not, the Black experience aspect of it is what draws him to the comic as well. Because there are other characters, there are other people out here that, like Marvel and DC, we see in comic books where we have carbon copies of another character. They're just a different gender, and they may have a slightly different background. But we have multiple versions of different characters from both sides. I was saying that if we're looking at something like, let's say, Black Panther, and he said the technological advances and stuff, was it not the tech? Well, we can see that with anything that Tony Stark does, or anything that Reed Richards does and stuff like that. We see stuff like that. But one of the reasons that is interesting is because it is someone that is not necessarily trained in science or whatever. It is the type of people that were able to make these type of advances when we do not see that in itself. So you may not take that in and automatically say, I'm here for the Black experience. That may not be a conscious thing that you're doing, but it is something that you are doing.
Anybody else staring into the lens want to get their opinion?
I'll wait.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to pretend. Listen, when we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And watching Yu-Gi-Oh!, we were happy to see some Black Negroes playing card games. I'm like, holy shit. We got gold. We play Yu-Gi-Oh! And we're pharaohs. That's a plus. We were like I'm not going to pretend like when we heard Piccolo.
Count as a Black person?
Yes, that is a nigga. That is a nigga.
I was just wondering. He's Egyptian. I was just wondering.
He plays
so is it Zodiac.
He plays spades. So exactly. So we're not going to pretend we call Brock a woman. Listen, so we gave credence in our mind. I don't know why we're not trying to acknowledge that. When we heard Piccolo, that's the Black guy. When we heard Goliath on Gargoyles, that's the Black guy. We knew who we were calling Black. I don't know why we're not pretending like all of a sudden like, hey, these guys are not Black. No, we thought it was, and that's what it was. Brock, hey, that's the one Black guy. Because we knew,
and never forget, Brock's dad wasn't there. That nigga left.
Black
Why do we give credence to green people and calling them Black? That's all.
I don't think it was the fact that he was green. I think it was the energy that he gave off. Certain characters, even when they look differently.
Y'all say Skeeter is Black when we got a whole Black character in Panty Mayonnaise. So that means Rock is Black, right? I'm just asking.
I wasn't a Doug person, so I'm not going to speak on that one.
Black?
Skeeter was Black.
All right, we don't have to violate. I got sworn at the violation, but
I thought Skeeter was Black. So that's why I was
we had to stop this. We had to stop.
You're missing a bunch of comments, by the way.
They're not coming up.
I see him lying.
Hey, we all know I'm a mulatto apologist.
So Patty was mixed and Skeeter was Black. That's how it works.
Tell me. Hey, Darren, your thoughts on it while we're going back and forth.
All right. So I actually love these types of conversations surrounding race and media. like it. I have a very, very, very large comic book collection that centers around blackness. Um, I know he kind of introduced me as the founder of Atlantic Comic Con, but I'm very, 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 very intentional about the optics of my convention. Particularly, all of my guests are black, every last one of them, no exceptions. Um, one of my headliners for a convention is one of my professors. I went to the University of South Carolina, and Dr. Kiana Witten is one of my headliners, and she is an authority on blackness within comics. I think that the brother Black Card Giver comes from a very privileged standpoint to be able to see entertainment just for like the sake of entertainment. I don't know too many people who have that type of lens that is black, who has lived in black skin and had black experiences. But whenever you're watching any type of entertainment, and I mean, we have been intentionally pushed out. We have been intentionally put aside, and like as the world opens up even more, especially Hollywood, we see that even the people that work in entertainment gets shafted and shamed, and like we know this stuff, right? And to say that, you know, I'm just going to watch entertainment for the sake of entertainment, I just think that's a little bit disingenuous, knowing the history. Like how can you just say, hey, I'm gonna watch this for what it is, knowing that we've been pushed out, we've been underpaid, we've been like, I don't even think it's possible. Like, I literally don't think it's possible.
I think there's a certain level of desensitization that is actually there that people don't acknowledge. Like, it's not as hard as you might think to just sort of separate yourself from the content and enjoy the content in this day and age.
Really?
But I think that's a problem. That is why nothing changes, and that's why we will never be equal in media.
I'm just saying it's a thing.
Well, no,
No, it is. It's a thing.
For sure.
Like, I'm not saying like.
I'm at the point right now where if I don't see enough black people in any space, whether it's entertainment or just I'm going into a store or I'm patron, I'm not comfortable there. I don't want to be anybody's token. I don't want to watch it on TV. It's nasty. You know what I'm saying? It makes me feel nasty. And so like, and I'm not acting like, you know, I just know that there's a shared feeling across the board, because I create spaces too. Like, that's why the con is important. I have spaces online where it's, you know, I try to intend for it to be for us, you know what I mean? And then like when people try to disrupt that, like, it isn't just my feeling, it's like the whole community. They're like, yo, this don't feel black enough. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know how you operate like that. Like, just literally just going on like I'm watching it just to watch it.
So like, okay, so like, but I get what you're saying, bro. Like, that's why I brought up the context of Power Rangers, right? Like, the Black Ranger, like, every time he came on, he was either talking about girls, Angela, which was whatever girl that was, he was dancing and doing some stereotyping stuff.
He was corny, but we still rooted for him.
Right, exactly. Like, I'm like, yo,
but
this is what y'all want to do with us.
Anything, though. He never got anything. He was
however, no, you brought up, that's true, Afro. Like Tommy, Jason, even Billy got all the serious episodes. Zach just got my girlfriend.
They had to make a White Ranger, yo. The Green Ranger just was not cutting it. There had to be a White Ranger.
Like,
the de facto leader.
They didn't start taking us serious. They didn't start taking us serious.
JDF though, most definitely.
Like, y'all remember when we got Aisha, the Yellow Ranger, and then
yes.
I was floored and happy as hell when I saw a Black Red Ranger. I'm like, oh my God, we got an Obama. Finally, we made it. I don't know how they let him in the Megazord.
We might have got a Black Red Ranger before we got Obama. If I'm not.
No, we did. We definitely did.
But I'm giving out the reference that I never thought I would see a Black man leading the Power Rangers.
And y'all
think
shat
that-
on them. Y'all shat on them. The same way y'all cheer for Zach. Till this day, y'all shit on TJ. Till this
Bro,
day.
I don't think
they
we
have
shit
a
on
hate for TJ, bro. They have a hate for TJ. I don't know why they hate
No,
TJ.
y'all got hate for
but they
TJ.
do
This
not
is the
like
first.
TJ,
This is the
bro.
first Red Ranger that got demoted into a Blue Ranger. Little kid.
He really did in space. He was blue. Shout out to Power Rangers though.
Yeah. Saban was wild, yo. They didn't give a fuck.
And y'all roll with it. TJ's ass.
No, I fuck with TJ. That's why I brought him up.
I mean, that is something out there that is not cool enough in a lot of different spaces.
I just think it was funny.
We can't
that
really
they
hear
had-
you, Monterey.
I just think it was funny they had
dang
the
it.
black,
Hold up.
the black guy that was the Red Ranger during the car arc. You know what I mean? They was all driving cars really fast. There was no animal. He could have easily been the red monkey. It could have, and they could have went there.
Don't do
It could have happened. It could have happened. I'm just
See,
saying.
that's why yours ended at 6 o'clock.
No, I'm just saying. It easily could have been that. But they made
nobody
it
ever
cars.
said why they got rid of
You have to
TJ.
worry about it.
They never
Well, I
explained
think
why
that
they got
they
rid of
did
TJ.
get a. Well, they
It was
did
a
get a lot
problem
of.
in the work
They got a lot
environment.
of flack for the Yellow Ranger being Asian and the stereotypes behind that, and the Black Ranger being a black man and the stereotypes behind that. So I think that they were switching it up, and they learned from that. And I can honestly say, when I was growing up, though I heard stuff like that type of thing did not hit me in a way as it does now. And I'm gonna be honest, I was one of those people that was not a huge
I was like,
fan.
I see what we're doing here.
Well, it just didn't affect me in a way that I felt some type of way about it. And even with what Cam was saying about TJ,
person perception though,
it probably was because that affects us. But growing up, I didn't personally love TJ. I didn't dislike him, but he was never like my favorite black character in the Power Ranger franchise. He just wasn't. Actually, my favorite has always been Aisha, but that's a different story. And then followed by Zach, but that was just me. But as I got older and I rewatched it, because I rewatched Power Rangers a lot, it's a fan favorite. I realized a lot of nuances on why, as a kid, I gravitated towards Zach, and why, as an adult, I gravitate towards TJ, and I understand TJ, and then I do believe that TJ was done wrong, and a lot of the hate that went towards TJ was unwarranted, where a lot of the praise that went to Zach was unwarranted as well, because it was just freely given because we loved Power Rangers growing up, and he was black. It wasn't because he did anything special.
The nigga on TV always.
Right. He didn't do anything special.
Real quick. Now, I'm glad we're talking about this. So what makes the silver lining between a show like the Boondocks, right? It being a classic and it's hilarious and it's doing the both ends of the spectrum, as this comment would say, cultural introduction with stereotyping, right?
Yeah.
What makes that a classic? What makes that funny? What makes that memorable characters until this day, right? So what makes the new Good Times cartoon just like, oh, this is the worst show on the planet? Or even the PJs, for that matter, we want to take it back even that.
Oh, the PJs.
What makes one?
So we kind of knew that the Boondocks was satire, though. Like, we knew
it was
that.
unapologetic too, though. It was
right.
There was never going to be an apology for that.
Written by a black man. It was written by a black man, right? So
that makes it fair. That's just
and think it took inspiration from the times that were happening, though. Like,
you gotta look at it like this. For me, for the Boondocks, because it was written by a black man and it was telling the experiences of a black family from a black man's perspective. I mean, it's not like super offensive to me.
It was top tier social commentary.
If a white person was telling that story, like, a lot of people don't really like that Good Time shit because the dude that created Family Guy is involved with it. I mean, we know what type of time and type of jokes he be on. You know what I mean? So that's why. But the Boondocks was written by a black man. It was telling.
Did the Cleveland show not get the same John because he did Family Guy? It's like
no, it didn't.
Probably black family real quick.
Yeah.
I didn't fuck with
a whole new family for the new show. He left Loretta.
Yeah, the Cleveland show was negative for quite a few reasons.
It just wasn't a good show.
Rollo was a crazy character, though. Let's be honest. Rollo was a wild ass character.
And I just think there's a really thin line between like stereotypical and straight up satire. Like when you think of things like Bebe's Kids, that was extremely like people love it, but it was problematic and it painted a light.
Really?
A light. Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah, black kids just be bad as fuck at the amusement park.
Right. Like that is like the whole thing.
Damn, I wasn't really damn.
But then when you think of the Boondocks, we know that it was satire, and so I think there's always this conversation. Well, I think there's always this conversation of like, okay, it's similar to like your family and your friends. Like, I can talk about you, but can't nobody else talk about you. And so when it was the Boondocks, it's like, okay, it's a black man. We're talking about the things that we joke around. Everybody on this panel, as black people, have been like niggas. When somebody do something like a certain way, we're like niggas or whatever. Yes, we are all black, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we always agree or we see things and we're like, that's black people shit. Color people time, like that is a thing. That is a thing that as black people we speak on. But best believe if a white person says like, oh, that's color people time, we got beef.
So that's what I'm saying. He said satire was created by a black person. So I asked the PJs once again because that was just like 50-50, but that was created by two black men.
The most problematic super.
But it was a black family in the projects, though. I mean, roaches, crackheads, everything. It was problematic.
Yeah, I didn't care to wear the PJs.
It was real though, to a certain extent. It was
listen to down and in the voice. Well, it was the project.
It was relatable. Was it not relatable?
Let's not switch it up. It was created by black men.
It may be relatable to you. It wasn't relatable to me because I didn't grow up in the projects around crackheads with roaches. I just didn't. And none of my friends did either. Even the ones that you like to talk about the gate. And I'm gonna let everybody know since this
I like when we're picking and choosing. I like when we're picking and choosing.
We're not doing the behind the gate stuff because everybody. No, you like to do that, but you push this narrative that what little do you know tries to, even though you're not doing it intentionally, it strips me of my blackness because you talk about the fact that I live behind a gated community. I currently live behind a gated community. I have not always done that. I have black friends that have lived in the hood. My grandmother lives in the hood. I've dated people in the hood. I've gone to school in the hood, and I've lived in the hood as well. Oh, well, not hood, but close enough. Like, I've had an experience. We are all different, but that just, no, but I'm expressing that because when I talk about this, when we talk about, oh, well, was it, it was something that, was it relatable? We are not a monolith, and some things are not going to be relatable to everybody. Majority of the people on here love the Boondocks. I can tell you, I haven't watched much of the Boondocks, not because it's not relatable, but it was just nothing that necessarily gravitated towards me in my personal taste or whatever. Now, when I choose to watch it, sure, yeah, I know it's good or whatever, but we are all different. And so to sit there and make a show and say, oh, well, is this relatable when it is literally one of the worst aspects of Black existence and say, oh, that's relatable. That is not. Because even all of y'all that may have lived in the hood, were y'all really living in roaches next to the crackhead and blah, 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 and you lived that way your whole life? But was that the way you lived? Was that something that you were proud of? Is that something that you want showed on a regular basis? As the overall experience, that is not the Black experience. That is just a small amount of the Black experience.
So if I may, so when they...
Because you don't live in the hood right now.
So project and they wait. So whenever, so we're looking at certain shows that show cultural backgrounds of what they're proud of. Like whenever they show a Japanese delinquent like Yusuke in his slum living, you know what I'm saying? Or like they show like the delinquent Japanese students, and this is where I'm from. Like they are rocking where they're from, and nobody like, oh, you know what? That's pretty cool.
I can't speak on that because I'm not a Japanese delinquent.
That's cool. That's cool. You're not that. But they're rocking.
I'm not Japanese. I can't speak on that. I am black though.
Nobody cut y'all off, man. I was very respectful. Now, when we're looking for what our representation, I didn't give a shit to watch Full House. But when I saw Family Matters and something that Carl or Harriet or Eddie or Laura or them were talking about, I'm like, you know what? I get what you're saying over there. I get the latchkey kid, Steve popping up. I get those kind of things. But I didn't care about no Full House.
I didn't speak on the Boondocks.
So when I watched the Boondocks and stuff Huey, Granddad, or Huey and them are saying we're throwing out, I'm like, yup, that's the shit that be in the back of our head that we be saying, or stuff that Chappelle, or literally in other cartoons and stuff that we be bringing up. It's just that when we say it out loud, certain people like bring it up, like send Aisha back to Africa. Like, what the fuck? Like, damn, she couldn't go to Harlem. There was no any other way that I'm like, yo, bro, right. But that was on TV that Aisha had to go to Africa, and I'm like, you know what? Y'all did that shit. That's pretty fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool when other people throw jabs or do certain stereotyping things to us, or how they put a narrative about the culture or our endearment. But then when we start looking at their stuff, it's all good. Nothing but Duck Dynasty or Trailer Park Love or Let Me Show You the Slums of Rita's on Park Show. Nah, fuck all that. When we want to show black kids fighting with superpowers in the hood, Static Shock, shout out to you, my nigga. I was all for that. I'm like, yup, Static, show the goddamn hood. This is what goes on.
Wait, I want to say something because I addressed the comment real quick. Let me address the comment real quick. I wasn't speaking about the Boondocks. I was talking about the PJs. So that's what you were missing. That I wasn't speaking on the Boondocks.
I know what you're talking about.
No, I was talking to the comments, not you.
Okay, my bad.
And then in reference to you, the reason that we do not have a say, I cannot speak on anything that I do not know, that I have not personally experienced. I can speak about Black culture as a member of Black culture. I cannot speak on what if that is true or if that is the total experience. If there is or is not a bunch of delinquents in Japan living in the slums. I can't speak on that, so I cannot defend or go against that. That is like people that sit there and don't understand it. And I'm just outraged for you. I can't be outraged for you when I don't know your experience or whatever, but I can be outraged with seeing this as the narrative of Black culture, as a member of Black culture, as a member of Black society in America. I can sit there and say, this is not okay. This is not the experience that everyone has. And this is a stereotype. And like I said, there is a thin line between speaking on what is fact and then leaning into the stereotype where it's overdone. We can talk about people in the hood. Yes, we can, because that is an experience, a real experience that many people have. But there's also a bunch of white people in the hood. Let's not forget that either. But they don't speak on that. And that is one of the issues that we talk about, because you don't see white people in the hood on TV like that. And then if you do, it is just straight up, oh, they're meth heads, they're this, they're that. It's never, oh, I'm just living, this is where I ended up, and it is what it is. That is not how that is portrayed. It's portrayed differently with us, which is why it's an issue.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, when they talk about Japanese delinquent kids, which are technically thugs, they get to be heroes. They get to be saviors of the universe. You know, shout out to one of my goats, Yusuke Urameshi, Japanese delinquent. He's a thug. They literally talked about him beating up gang members and doing all kinds of crazy shit. But I'm just saying, like, what goes good for certain people, you know what I'm saying?
You're naming 2 shows out of the 8 million shows on the not talking to you, I'm talking to the commenter. You're naming the handful of shows that's out there. You're naming a handful of shows that are out there. If we sit there and list every show that leans too far into the stereotype of Black culture compared to all the ones that lead into stereotypes of white trash people, you are not going to find the same amount. You're not going to find anywhere near close.
So I think, like, okay, so y'all remember Burst Angel You remember that anime Birth Angel?
Oh, Birth Angel.
Where are we going with this?
I looked at her like that's a badass bat chick. Like she's damn fine as hell, doing crazy gun tricks and stuff, and beating up mecha robots. Like I looked to see little things like that. I thought like, oh, she's like Eve, except with the hairstyle shit. I'm like, that's cool. I do look for stuff like I get what the brother was saying. Like sometimes we look for something of us in that scenario to see could we be that guy or that gal in that scenario. And you know, I don't know. That's the only thing I look at. You know, I'm wrapping it up. Yeah, that's the only thing I gotta say. I just think we be looking to see us in there, and that's things fixed.
Any other takes for the quiet folks that's on here?
For the quiet folks.
For the quiet folks is crazy.
Everybody can
don't
speak.
count in it.
For me,
I'll add something. I think
the PJs were relatable, though. I just want to leave that out
Jesus Christ.
I think that conflating Japanese culture with American culture for Black people are two different things. Like it's not the same at all. Japanese people, and within the subgroup of Japanese people, it's still Japanese and is dominated by Japanese culture. We live in a white, normative, dominant society. And what we know about white, normative cultural society is they've done everything to disenfranchise and marginalize us. We are always going to be sensitive to that. There has been efforts in books, in media, and everything to portray us negatively. And again, that just goes back to the thing that I said before. Like, you can't not watch. Like, you have to like intentionally just say, look, I'm just going to watch this for this, knowing what we went through. Like, you can't draw parallels to Japanese culture and Black, because Japanese people dominate the entire culture, like all levels. We are trying to fit into a culture that isn't ours, and we just want to be properly represented. And up until now, because I'm a comic book guy, every Black person was stereotyped negatively. You know what I'm saying? Up until the last 10 years, you know, they were sidekicks, they were big lip, like all of these things. And so I think it's safe, and I think it's the right thing to do to say, like, look, I want to see a magical boy, or I want to see a Black telepath. How many Black telepaths do y'all know in comics, period? None of y'all know one. I answered it for you. None of y'all know one.
yeah.
I think it's no, you can't draw parallels to
Hunter, just letting you know. Just saying Hunter.
Say that again.
Hunter x Hunter, the ninjas. They're ninjas. But
okay.
There you go.
Gotcha. Comics.
Yeah, comics.
Yeah, you talking about
Comics,
comics.
yeah.
If you talk about comics, well, you got the Hive, Jinx. If you want, do you want to count Jinx as one or no? You count Jinx as Black or yeah?
Jinx is
she's Asian. Damn, they culturally appropriate her ass. Never mind. Guess they took her out. You guys stand that right. And they took Jinx out there.
Right. So I mean, you know, you would literally have to.
I be having problematic thoughts sometimes.
Yeah, man.
Right, and I don't think it's anything wrong to have problematic thoughts. I mean, I love this forum, you know what I'm saying, because it opens up ideas that we may not have. You know, like a part of growing as a community is having these hard discussions about representation and things like that, because it provides awareness, right? And like that's the first step to changing the narrative. All my favorite Black movies, especially from the 90s, are gangster movies, all of them. New Jack City, South Central, that's what it was. So if somebody says that they're tired of or enough is enough, I also understand that.
Right. This is what I want to say, because you know I'm one of the quiet folks. My bad, I had to talk. I gotta say something. I mean, I get 100% what Darren and Ebony is saying, like 100%. Like for me. And this, I'm gonna go back to the Black Panther thing. The reason why Black Panther was such a big moment, such a big movie, is because how many times have you heard during the discussion amongst other black people, I'm tired of seeing movies about niggas selling drugs in the hood, blah blah blah, doing all that, the stereotypical shit that, you know, black people get accused of doing all the time. So when you finally see someone that looks like you in royalty, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that's not presented to you every day. Like you love to see that type of stuff because you know that type of stuff exists. I mean, we know there was black royalty and stuff like that, but it's
Bridgerton,
not
Queen Charlotte.
It's not fed to us. You know what I mean? We was fed the the New Jack Cities and the Boys in the Hoods and the Minister Societies and shit like that. Like, I mean, people was tired of the slave movies and all that other stuff. Like, you want to see black people represented in different ways. Like, we are scientists. You know what I mean? We are scientists.
Ooh.
Like, you know what I mean? We are doctors. You know what I mean? We're not just drug dealers and athletes and rappers and all that other shit. Like, you know what I mean? You want to see yourself represented in a way that you know exists. So that's why Black Panther was so big. That's why a lot of people went to go see the movie. Like, I get what Monray's saying as well. If you're a comic fan and you just like comic books, you're just gonna go see the movie because you like comics. You know what I mean? But if you black, part of the reason why you went to that movie is because the experience of watching black excellence. That was what you wanted to see. That was why people dressed up in the attire that they was wearing to go see that movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they wanted to be a part of that moment. That was a moment that was big for African Americans, for us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we need that type of stuff. We need more of that type of stuff. So yeah, for like, I mean, so that's what I want to say.
Oh, and to the point where the commenter Jay said something about we don't have a command of the system to match the representation. That's what Darren and I were speaking on in the beginning, on how we don't have representation, and that is something that is necessary in order for us to receive a more true and relevant experience in media, a representation in media, by having black creators that create the experience and original characters that are built on that experience, instead of taking an already established character and just race swapping him. So there you go, Jace, because you've been fighting me all damn day.
But I'm not gonna lie, that last Black Samurai Netflix thing, I'll give it like if it's out of 10.
We know you turned on Yasuke. Everybody else did.
Yeah, everybody turned on Yasuke, low-key.
Well, okay,
but now they're back because he's gonna be in Assassin's Creed. So now everybody's team Yasuke again.
But they beat the horse to death already, They already did it.
It's not always that good. It's not always. Sometimes it works.
It's all love. It's all love.
It's sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. Sometimes I do get tired of the dashiki beating war drum on something. I'm like, listen, dude, I don't need that in everything. Just it has to make sense. Like Miles makes sense. Riri, Ironheart don't make no damn sense. That's stupid. Like some of these characters don't make no sense. Like there has to be a balance, man. Like
wait.
Why does Riri and Ironheart not make sense?
Why doesn't Riri make sense?
But she don't make no damn sense. Like literally her backstory, or I'm just smart as Tony Stark and I can just use his system and use all his shit. Like just say like you wanted a minority Mary Sue in that shit. That's all you had to say. You wanted that. But mind you, she sucks as an Avenger, and like she's not a really good character. So why do you put her?
Someone say something. Godly.
It wouldn't matter. Listen, I'm not here about feelings. I'm just here to just. This is the cartel, but like I'm just gonna tell you what it is. Like I'm sorry, but I do like Tom. I was fine with Rhodey. Rhodey's a whole black guy. He literally is a whole pilot. Like he actually piloted Iron Man suits. That girl just sucked ass, like all down the line. Like,
do y'all remember what he looked like in the Iron Man cartoon in the 90s, That was not a black man. Was it?
Yeah, that was a black man.
Was it?
Yeah, and he was a pilot. He was a whole.
You didn't get like the Latin vibes.
No, he was a pilot.
He said Forge was black, so I mean he trying to stick with that.
Forge was black. I mean, what the hell you call it, bitch? You had a bunch of black characters in the X-Men. I mean, I don't get it, man. Like, where were y'all when we were watching TV? Like, did y'all not have cable?
I'm just saying, I don't think. Look,
X-Men all the time.
We can't do Lucas Bishop and make him black.
Right, they weren't black. You saw that Jerry Cole sweat on them niggas.
If Piccolo can be black, so can Ford. God damn it!
I mean, Bishop kicked in the door and started shooting niggas. Like, if that ain't a nigga, I don't know what. Like,
I mean, Bishop is black. What are we talking about?
So Bishop technically is Australian Aborigine. For the record, that's a fact.
If the cops pull that nigga over, what they gonna do?
He's Australian Aborigine.
Melanin is melanin, yo.
Okay, that was a black nigga. He's black. Okay, he's black. Bishop was black. He had Jerry Curl sweat and running down the damn halls of an X-Men as a nigga. That was a nigga. He ain't getting none of it.
See how we go from a serious conversation and take the off ramp and just be like, fuck it, you know.
I mean, y'all was
only on the Blerd.
I'm sorry that they want to.
Any problems with Blade or any Spectrum? I'm just asking. Moon Girl, any problems with? Let me know.
No, listen. Her and her dinosaur are okay with me.
Okay. Is that the only character we all gonna agree on that Moon Girl is dope?
I mean, I'm always gonna fuck with the black girl.
Right, he's just like he's stuck on Moon Girl.
I'm right with you, Andre.
It's the dinosaur.
Don't mind me. Do not mind me.
I didn't hear that dude. I didn't hear none of y'all bring up Green Lantern. I mean, shout out to the Justice League.
We talked about
it in the beginning.
Earlier. What are you talking about?
I told y'all them shots kicked in.
Moon Dragon, not Moon, Blue Marvel. We talked about.
We definitely talked about it.
I was here for all that. But I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't see all these black Jerry Curl Negroes at the comic book shop when I was there.
The Jerry Curls coming.
Hold on. Let me say this.
Look, I'm just saying. Bishop.
I'm just saying.
The shots are kicking in.
I didn't see a lot of these people that are now screaming out loud. Where were these dudes at the Tekken tournaments when we had to put quarters or at the goddamn arcade or Books A Million? I didn't see all these people. Was it like only when anime became hype and or trending? Because when it all that time, I didn't see all that shit. I'm just being honest. I didn't see all these people around like that.
But let's not act like I hate that narrative that like black people just got into anime and shit.
They did.
They didn't. That's crazy.
We all know.
That's insane. That's insane. And just with that statement, you're invalidating everybody on this panel's experience because everybody on this panel grew up and still to this day watches anime, read comics, read manga. So you're throwing away our experience by making that statement.
So the black community, was the black community accepting the pandemic?
That's what you're trying to say.
So was the black community?
So was the black trying to say black people didn't get into anime to the pandemic?
No, I heard before that.
That's what you're trying to say. That's what you're trying to say.
Man, I'm stuck in the house. Let me turn on this cartoon.
I did see an increase in it. When the pandemic started, it increased. Before then, we ain't gonna say in front like every black person on the street. Oh yeah, I watched Dragon Ball, and only hood niggas was watching that shit.
Wow,
I remember not watching it.
Let's be real.
They wasn't saying I'm watching it outside. Niggas wasn't going around saying, "Oh, I watch Sailor Moon." Oh, I watch. No, you got some people that talk about Ronin Warriors, but it all depends what it was. If it was, they had like a hood certification for it to be cool to watch. You wasn't.
But that doesn't mean that it wasn't done. That does not mean that it wasn't done.
I'm not saying it wasn't done. I'm just saying it was definitely well hidden before the pandemic. Before everybody got
not everything is a hidden thing. Like I grew up watching anime, but I didn't walk around with anime T-shirts because they didn't have a bunch out there back in the day. It doesn't change the fact that I grew up watching anime. Now there's more merch. Now you get to see it. If somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, I watch this," then I talk about it. I don't go out of my way to bring up all the things that I'm into because I'm into so many different things. So if I didn't tell you when I was growing up that I was watching anime, it doesn't mean that I wasn't watching it. It just means that I met you. You said, "Oh, I like this, this, and this," and I said, "Oh, well, I like that too." And then we started talking about the things that we had in common. When I met other people that were into anime, then I discussed anime with them. But it doesn't change the fact that I grew up watching it. What you mean? We're talking about black people, bitch. Am I not black?
So let's be real. But I ain't calling you a bitch. I'm not trying to call you a bitch. But if you want to go there, I can get in the gutter.
No. So what were you trying? So what were you trying to say by saying we're talking about black people?
Let's be real.
What were you trying to say? Bro, I don't even give a fuck because B.M.T, you already know I hear half of what you say and throw it out the window. All I'm saying is you already got out of pocket when you said that you were talking about black people as if I'm not black. Am I black? Am I not black? I'm not gonna shut the fuck up because of you.
All right.
Come on.
All right. Everybody relax.
Why you trying to
Everybody relax.
Y'all know y'all got a guest on the show. Jesus.
Well, look, at least you really see the real ain't no face
on the show.
Y'all be like, yo,
everybody
niggas over here.
It was out of pocket though. You didn't have to drop
No, I don't think
everybody got it.
How did it get there? I'm trying to put it like, what happened?
I don't know.
Because she gave her experience. That she was a black woman. And he was like, well, we're talking about black people. And she said, am I not black? And it went left totally off the rails from there.
Oh, God.
Listen.
Bitch, and then I
can I just say this?
Bitch, am I not
want to say this.
We got a guest. Everybody forgot about that.
Right,
So
we got a guest.
Oh, yeah, we got a professional.
You know what I mean? Y'all on here drawing. Like, chill. Making the cartel look.
That's why they both got off, because they're gonna argue back and forth. It looks bad for everybody.
I just want to say this though: two things can be true. Okay, two things can be true. There was people in the hood, black people like us, that was watching anime, that was fans of it, just anime, comics, video games, whatever. You know what I mean? And there's also people in your neighborhood that ridiculed you and made fun of you because of that. You know what I mean? Because they didn't understand it or they didn't like it. Like, I mean, both of the instances is true.
Media wasn't
but
big
to
back then either, so we didn't have the exposure.
Yeah, and that's true as well. But like to say, like, I mean, people just started watching anime now, like black people just started getting into it. Like, I just feel like that's a ludicrous statement to make.
Right.
People
we're not saying they just started.
It's just
we're just saying like it's becoming more known. I'm telling you,
mainstream. That's the word you're looking for.
You did not know every black person watching that, and we ain't gonna sit here in front about that shit. Go down the street back then, you did not know every motherfucker was watching anime until you walk in the crib, or you played the video game, or you talked to them, or something like that. Now it's everybody down the street, every hood nigga watching that shit. They got the T-shirt with the One Piece. Half some people ain't know who the fuck Luffy is. They just got it now. Oh yeah, this the bull now. It's like how should I put it? Mainstream. That's the word they use. Mainstream.
It's mainstream because it's a lot of casual fans. I mean, it's a lot of casual fans.
That's all I'm trying to say.
That wasn't, and that's why I said two things could be true. You know what I mean? It's true on both sides. You know what I mean? But
So, excuse me. How old is everybody here? Because I feel like we all around the same age.
34.
No,
right.
34.
Right.
Everybody's in their 30s. Just put it that way.
We all should be in our 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I mean,
I'm 32,
and I come from I come from a sports background, right? Like a for real sports background. Like I was a scholarship athlete, did all the things at every level, literally, and all my friends watched it. And I mean, we're talking about a spectrum, a social spectrum. You know what I mean? People in the locker room are very different socially than black geeks. Yeah. And I've lived this duality my whole life. And there was a lot of people. I mean, I remember being in the dorm rooms, going on trips to different arenas. Like we on a joint, like, yo, you watch this clip or you watch the Dark Tournament or we talking about Samurai Champloo. Like, and I'm talking about like athletes. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember a time where black folks in large part weren't participating in it. You know what I mean? Like maybe it was covert, but I grew up in the inner city and I went to a big college. You know what I'm saying? Like like all different types of areas. I just don't. Now, comics is something very different. Like I guess that's super geeky. Like I'm a big time comic guy, but like anime, I don't know people who don't watch it, honestly.
I think what she said was true. Everybody did, but you had to have like-minded people to open up and have that conversation with that person. He's like, "Hey, did you watch X, Y, and Z? Oh, I ain't watching that cartoon bullshit." And then just like, "All right, well,
I was gonna say,
I'm not
I
gonna
definitely
open
had
my mouth
the
anymore." So
experience in the beginning.
like,
I'm like, no, I don't watch that.
when you
shit,
find
bruh.
the
And you're
like-minded
like,
person to talk to that about, that's the problem. Just like you have to find that person. Oh, even merch wasn't a thing back then. Everybody had the silk button up with the samurai bow on it. Oh, that's
I ain't do all that.
We got that part, but everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody watched Toonami, and then for the most part, it just discussing it openly was
the kimono pink dragon shirt with the wings.
It's a samurai bull with the look like came from.
I think the most
all that shit. So that's the bull users like, nah, I ain't fuck with that bull. So it's just like
the most I would see, you see somebody drawing Goku or drawing Charizard on a little extra piece of paper. I would see that, but like I think the only thing, like I agree to everybody, which I was saying that it was just you had to find those people because it wasn't just as obvious, with the anime shirts.
The conversations weren't out in the open. To your point, yeah, it just wasn't.
Yeah,
once you found them, I was over it.
But I didn't have my first anime friends until like going to the arcade.
I'm be honest, I got my first anime homies when in freaking middle school because we was all on the Game Boy playing Pokemon.
Right.
See, mine came from Dance Dance Revolution at the mall, yo. That's where I got my first anime friends.
Pokemon was the gateway.
DDR at the mall.
I was like 10, 11 years old. We like.
Yeah.
I mean,
mine came way later, to be fair.
Listen, real quick. We want Darren to explain and introduce his con. What gave him the idea to do it? What's going to be at this year's con? What's his inspiration? Let's give this man the floor real quick.
I appreciate that. For those who have been tuning in, I'm Deron Flood. Just a quick background about who I am and why I'm doing this. So I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. Big time comic book collector. Love anime and casual cosplayer as well. Like I've done some pretty cool characters. Most of my characters I try to make sure that they're Black. That's important to me. No shade to anybody else. But like this start of this first year convention, the Atlantic Comic Con, was a bit of an evolution for me. Again, starting out as a comic book fan, and I remember conventions back in the 90s, it was literally just vendors set up all around the malls, just selling their comic books. You know what I'm saying? And then it grew from that to having guests come out to like being a multi-fandom extravaganza that it is today. And so like, just going to cons all over the country, building relationships with artists, building relationship with writers and cosplayers and things like that. I just figured it was my time. I own a gym here in Norfolk, so I'm no stranger to business. I also do events here. I do an event called the Hampton Roads Met Gala. That is also in Norfolk. So like bridging the gap between like my passion and, the business acumen was something that it's just necessary for me. So what's really, I'm the only Black owned convention in Hampton Roads. And that's super important to me. And that's when I'm out here in the community. That's one of the things that I tell people, like, listen, I'm bringing a cultural component that, wouldn't necessarily be replicated anywhere else. And I'm very proud of that. So, I tell them, like, listen, my vendors are mostly Black. All of the people who are working in there are Black. My guests are Black. I literally have Black scholars that are going to be there lecturing folks, on comics and history. Like it's just something that, like Blerd Con Hilton is big homie, you know what I'm saying? And he took me underneath his wing and he was like, look, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to go about doing it. And I've listened to everything that he said, and I'm trying to replicate what he has going on up there in DC, you know what I'm saying? And bringing it to the Hampton Roads. Like, that's the ultimate goal. And so, like, from layouts to planning to like just being open to any of that has been like monumental to what we have going on here. Now, as far as like the process, I started out with a Kickstarter, and my goal was to raise 12 grand, and I was able to raise 16 grand in 12 days. And that was some great startup capital, because people really believe in this in the area and they want it to happen. And that went from rolling out guest after guest after guest after guest. People just, you know, I'm really strategic about the marketing strategy. So like, you know, I'm taking days in, drum rolling, making sure that people are getting their flowers, really getting through to the folks. And the reception has been amazing. People are buying tickets. My vendor hall is crazy. My artist alley is crazy. You know, we're going to have like a pre-party on Friday night, and then it's going to be a 2-day event. And I have vendors that are coming from the West Coast. Like, just it's overwhelming. I'm excited and I'm proud. And so we're going to have a big game. I know I'm jumping all over the place. So, you know, that passion's starting to go through. But we're going to have a huge gaming component. So we'll have free play, casual, as much as you want. But we're also running some esports tournaments as well. Okay. So Tekken, Street Fighter. You know, we're going to do a 64-man pool. I'm going to give out a championship belt for the first place winner. You know, money, merch, and things like that. Cosplay contests. I have some black professional cosplayers that are going to be in town. They're going to be judging my cosplay contest. And like I said, my guests, Larry Stroman, Todd Johnson, my partner, Greg Burnham. You know, these guys, if you never heard of Tuskegee Airs, you know, like Marcus the Visual, all of these guys are going to be in the building, you know, and it's just an axe. And, you know, when I'm asking these guys, there's a bit of nervousness, but like, it's reassuring to saying like, yo, it's you, you know, we're going to do whatever we can to make this thing a success. And again, I'm humbled, like more than, and it's hard to humble me because I'm always on soapboxes, always poking my chest out. But it is humbling to know that, you know, to have a community that's willing to, you know, do everything. And, you know, I don't have $1 million or anything like that. So people are like, my guests are like, look, I'll drive down, just make sure that you take care of the hotel. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that. And I mean, folks coming from far, you know what I'm saying? And I'm pitching it to them and they loving it. And it's going down, man, August 17th and 18th. At the downtown Sheridan in Norfolk, Virginia. First year, everything has been moving smoothly, and I'm excited about, you know, providing this experience for the community. And I'm inviting each and lad. Where are you guys from? Is anybody close to me?
I'm Philly.
No,
Philly. Florida. That's close.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 hours.
I heard Philly and where else?
Florida. I'm in Florida. She's in Cali.
But I am from Philly, though.
Okay. Well, I need the Philly cats to come in. We can get you on a panel or something, man. You know what I mean? I got you.
Appreciate that.
Is there a place that you can donate to we can make that? Because supporting Black businesses is important. And the more Black cons we have across the country is a win for all Black content creators, especially in the game with anime and gaming and stuff. So is there a way that we can, do you have something to where we can donate to the experience?
No, just purchasing tickets. The Kickstarter would have been like the answer about 20 days ago. But just purchasing some tickets, and more importantly, like not necessarily donating, but I need you guys virtual space. I need you guys to share. Talk to people about it. I know y'all have some family somewhere close to here. Spreading that word is going to be everything. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be a weekend to remember. And I've been working relentlessly. Like I said, I run a gym But like every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm setting up vending opportunities all over the city. Like I'm going to another Black-owned convention this weekend, and shout out to them over there, ImmerseCon. It's a STEM and gaming convention, Black-owned. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, I don't care what I'm going out there. I'm doing everything that I can to be there to support you. You know what I'm saying? And Richmond is like an hour and a half away from me, but like just things like that. You know what I'm saying? Hell, I've even sponsored ads for his convention on my platform. That's how much I believe in what he has going on. I shouldn't have said that because he's gonna get mad at me. But you know, that community aspect is going to be the only way that we can win collectively.
Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you tolerating us and explaining everything you got going on, and also appreciate the invitation to come out there. Hopefully, you know, we could talk later behind the scenes, and you know, hopefully get something going with that. Whoever can make that trip over to Virginia, and when is the date again? Just
August 17th and 18th.
Well, that's good. That's still a good one. Good way to
Not
win.
this year, but for sure, when you have this next year, I will show up.
I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna find your socials, and I'm going to remind you every quarter leading up to.
That's how you do it. Remind him every quarter.
Have me hold me accountable. I want to go. I really do.
I appreciate that.
Same.
Well, we wrapping up tonight. So Deron Flood here, Atlantic Comic Convention, August 17th to 18th, Norfolk, Virginia. Go out there, sponsor Black-owned business. You know, just support. You know, just buy a ticket. If you can't make it, just, you know, save up that money. Don't just go to BlerdCon. Go try and go somewhere. Expand your resources. Expand your, you know, your knowledge of just Black-owned conventions. Not everything gotta be, you know. I think most of the other stuff is kind of washing out. You know, this could be the third joint you go to. Go to BlerdCon, DreamCon, and then you got a third joint. So I mean, you know, we could wash up the other joints. You know, maybe 2025 might be our year for the BlackCon experiences. But you know, you see y'all the Cartel. Also,
look, y'all have to be maybe not this year, but I want every last person on this panel to be there. But there's going to be no fighting because I'm gonna have security, and they're gonna mace y'all in your eyes. Behave.
Oh man,
we should have mace on here, but you know.
Oh wow.
Catch Blerd Cartel all social media platforms. You know, we'll see y'all. Enjoy yourselves. We're gonna get the socials out in a minute. Catch y'all later.
Thank you.
Let's